Here our right triangle is flipped a little bit upside down. The right angle is right here, so you know that this side over here is your hypotenuse. So let's find angle K first. That's this one right here. And what we would do for writing this out is we would say, since I know the opposite side and I know the adjacent side, I can write out that tan of angle K, opposite side is 9, adjacent side is 13. So from our guessing and checking, that's less than 1. We would say already, I think it's going to be less than 45. Now the way that your calculator has something is sort of based on the idea of, with algebra, if you do the opposite on both sides, it gets rid of something, right? Like if you had x plus 3 equals 9 and you were solving for it, you would do the opposite of plus 3, which is minus 3, to get the answer. So the word for doing the opposite mathematically is called an inverse. So doing something the opposite mathematically is an inverse. The inverse of squaring something, x squared, is square rooting. Okay? And the calculators will have things set up so that inverses are sort of in the same place on your calculator. That's why where the x squared button is, right above it, you have the square root button. So the opposite for tan is called tan inverse, which says opposite of tan mathematically. If I would do tan inverse on both sides, what it would do is it would cancel out this tan. And we would be left with just angle K on this side. And on the other side, we would have tan inverse of 9 over 13. So if we had a tool that allowed us to do the inverse or to undo something, we could get K all by itself. So when we go to our calculator, the tan inverse button is right above tan. You can go second, tan, and 9 divided by 13 tells us that K is equal to 34.7. Does it say how much to round to? To the nearest tenth. Have to remember our degree sign. We rounded, so I'll try and make those squiggly to say that's an approximation. So we know that this is 34.7. And that's a lot faster than guessing until we get close enough. To find angle N, there's now two ways you can find angle N. If you wanted to, you could do the same thing that we did in the first part. We could say that we know that tan of N is equal to, now the opposite side is 13, the adjacent side is 9. So if I did tan inverse on both sides, I would find out that N will be tan inverse of 13 over 9. I don't know if you like to write what you do on both sides of an equation to help you. But then these would cancel out because they're opposites. And we go to our calculator, and we could go tan inverse 13 divided by 9. And we would get 55.3 degrees. That is one way that you could have found out that angle N was 55.3 degrees, exactly the same as what we did for the first one. What's another way that we could find angle N once we found out that angle K was 34.7? Ethan. Right. All the angles in the triangle have to equal 180. You're going to start to do, mathematically, you're probably going to start to do, if this one's 90, these two have to add up to 90 as well. And so if you said, I've got 90 plus 34.7 plus angle n has to equal 180, degrees, 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 and you solve for this, you would also get 55.3 for angle n.